Hi, it's Ozzy Carlson here. When it comes to Sylvester Stallone, there's two characters he played that immediately come to mind in the eyes of fans. Those, of course, being the boxer Rocky Balboa and the soldier John Rambo. Rambo is often associated with being this over-the-top 80s action hero who has a machine gun and is blowing away the enemy and is packing a pretty mean-looking knife. But Rambo's origins were actually much more humble in his first film that came out in 1982 based on a novel by David Morrell. The first movie to feature the John Rambo character was First Blood, which has now arrived on 4K. I'm going to unbox this release and share my opinions. Nice cover art there with Stallone wielding his gun. The movie that started the legend of Rambo, it says. There's the spine text, back cover. Inside the package, we do have our two discs. We have a 4K Ultra High Def disc of the movie, which also includes commentary tracks, and a Blu-ray disc of the movie, which has the movie, the commentary tracks, and some additional bonus features. Disappointingly, these discs are behind these, recycle-friendly packaging that's considerably less durable. I definitely want to see less of this in the years to come because I don't want my case, or by that extent, my discs getting damaged. And this would have originally included a digital code, but I got a used disc which did not have the code. He never fought a battle he couldn't win. Academy Award nominee Sylvester Stallone stars as war hero ex-Green Beret John Rambo in the one that started it all. First Blood is an explosive action thriller that will keep you on the edge of your seat until the final powerful fray. Again, when most people think of Rambo, they think about the guy with the giant knife and the machine gun going to other parts of the world and blowing away enemies. But that's not what this character always was. David Morrell wrote the novel on which First Blood was based, and this movie actually revolves around John Rambo trying to put his life back together several years after coming home from Vietnam. He's not too happy about the treatment he received from his government, his inability to hold down a job, and to simply go about living his life. When he finds out he's the last surviving member of his unit, he simply passes through a town wanting to get something to eat, but it's not long before he invokes the ire of a bigoted small-town sheriff portrayed by Brian Dennehy, and once they try to apprehend Rambo and he begins having his PTSD flashbacks, he snaps, he runs, and this small-town sheriff will stop at nothing to apprehend him and bring him to justice. But needless to say, they don't know who they picked the fight with. It's not long before Rambo's old commanding officer, Troutman, portrayed by veteran actor Richard Crenna, comes to town to try to defuse Rambo and bring about a peaceful end to the situation. This movie's a little deeper than its follow-up films because at this point, even though there is certainly action in this film, John Rambo had not yet been turned into this over-the-top action hero. And that's the reason I think First Blood is actually the best movie in the Rambo series, because it's more concerned with actually serving as an allegory for veterans coming back from wars who didn't receive the best treatment and found themselves not even really having a home to come back to. John Rambo in this movie really speaks to that in the best possible manner. And the performances from all the actors involved are certainly good. I mean, I do have to say at times the small-town sheriff and the police force do feel a little one-dimensional and overly antagonistic, but I do have to say it's still easily the best of the 5 Rambo films, and I can easily recommend this one to any fan of classic cinema, action cinema, or anything in between. Needless to say, First Blood has received a lot of releases on home video over the years, and a few years ago it got this 4K release. And I have to say, First Blood is not a movie that's ever going to look great or be demo material for your home theater, but this is certainly superior to any prior version. The addition of HDR certainly does make a difference in certain scenes, though it's not an overly aggressive application of HDR either. The levels of detail are quite strong. If there was any noise reduction used on this transfer, and I'm guessing there probably wasn't, but if there was, it was used very lightly and doesn't really affect things too negatively. Understandably, there are going to be some shots, particularly during the opening of the movie, that are in pretty soft focus. Again, that's just how the movie was shot. And there are some scenes, particularly in the darker forest scenes, where the black levels are not as deep as they really should be. But overall, again, I am happy to see that this doesn't have any unwanted enhancements. It is a fairly faithful-looking transfer, and probably the best First Blood will ever look on home video. I think that will be okay with most fans. The Blu-ray, and I'm not sure if it's a reissue of the existing Blu-ray copy of the movie or not, because I don't own any of the prior releases, has plenty of bonus features on there, including one on the phenomenon of the Rambo character. There's a featurette with some of the Vietnam vets who share their experience. There's commentary tracks, including one with Sylvester Stallone and one with David Morrell, who wrote the book on which the film was based. The film does take a few liberties with the book. I won't get into that here. And there are also some alternate outtakes, deleted scenes, and an alternate ending as well. The alternate ending being a little more in line with what happened in the book. First Blood is easily the best of the Rambo films because Rambo is actually human. He's not just this over-the-top vehicle used for action hero scenes. I like all the Rambo films, don't get me wrong, but I do appreciate that this one's a little deeper and a little more rooted in story. So this 4K release of First Blood certainly gets my highest recommendation. If you're someone who loves the Rambo series, you love action cinema, you love 80s cinema, it does it well. How about you? Are you a fan of the Rambo series? What's your favorite movie? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, remember to subscribe to this channel for more content because I'm always posting new videos, and make sure you give this one a like if you found it helpful. I'm Taylor T. Carlson. See you next time.